I'm a gun with the for the Gators.
Okay.
I was just checking to see if you were listening.
From Cheyenne, Louisiana. Hold on a second.
Hey, guys! Hey! I'm having a press conference, okay? Thank you.
Momentum, excitement, energy. They say all this stuff and you know what they mean, but it doesn't describe what you mean. It's just sort of out there.
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
I was just worried about, listening to, all your guys' rap poison.
Welcome to Sideline Judgement. Here are your hosts, Sergio and Tyler.
Welcome to Sideline Judgement. My name is Sergio.
My name is Tyler.
And today, Tyler, it is officially draft week here at Sideline Judgement HQ. Yes,
I'm
sir.
dancing in case anybody can't tell. Podcasting is visual medium.
Yes, it is. Tyler is boogieing out there in Los Angeles. We are going to mock draft, Tyler. We're really not going to do much like college football talk per se, because in our opinion, this is the perfect intersection.
This is college football talk.
This is college football talk. Exactly. One time a year where we can bring in our NFL fandom, our NFL viewing habits and knowledge, and intertwine it with the college football world. Before we begin, Tyler, I want to ask you a quick question that's not on the rundown. Will you be subscribing to the YouTube TV's Sunday Ticket for the astronomical price of $450? Yeah. Yeah. Tyler's eyes bulged out of his head. I believe it's $450. The official price is $450, and I think it's $350. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, continue. I need a second. All right.
Oh, man.
Explain to me what how this price has come to be.
So, as people know, YouTube TV picked up the rights to Sunday Ticket. They are leaving DirecTV, and this season, they recently, and by recently I mean at the beginning of the month, but as we know, it's the off season, and so we have a little bit of a whatever. So now you can get Sunday Ticket and watch any out-of-market NFL game on YouTube TV like you would have on DirecTV. So the pricing for non-subscribers of YouTube TV, which I believe is most people, right? I'm not going to go out on a limb and say, I know that I don't have YouTube TV. Do you have YouTube TV?
I don't. No.
This would be your price. If you purchase before June 6th, the price for a non-subscriber of YouTube TV is $349 for the season. Remember, this does not include the playoffs, and it does not include it does include preseason games, but those don't really matter as much.
Who cares?
Exactly. If you would like to have Red Zone included, which is some sick, you know what? You're not including Red Zone in the base price.
Exactly what they're doing. That is exactly what they're doing.
You slimy Google employees. Anyway,
I have hose that would beat you.
So it's $349 before June 6th. It is $389 if you would like Red Zone before June 6th. And if you purchase it base price without Red Zone after June 6th. So like most people, it's 2 weeks till the season start. Oh, maybe I should get Red Zone. I'm sorry, not even Red Zone. Maybe I should get Sunday Ticket. The price is $449. And if you want Red Zone after June 6th, $489 for non-YouTube TV subscribers. So let's chalk it up and be conservative and say $450 if you purchase 2 weeks before the season, and that is not including Red Zone.
Wow.
Your silence is deafening, Tyler.
Wow. That capitalism really is late stage, ain't it?
No, it is. It is in the eighth inning, right? That capitalism is in the eighth inning.
Oh yeah. Do you remember? I remember when they announced they're moving to YouTube TV, and everybody I know who had YouTube TV, which is a good amount of people, were like, "Yes, finally! This is so awesome!" And I was like, "It did sound awesome. This is terrible."
So that's for.
Actually, they probably didn't think they'd have to pay this much money to get it.
Well, if you do have YouTube TV, they're in luck because, Tyler, if they get YouTube TV after June 6th, same situation, like 2 weeks before the season starts, they only have to pay $349.
Oh, what a steal!
What? Well, $249 if they do it before June 6th, and if they would like Red Zone before June 6th, $289.
This is too much money.
Stream East exists, so how about that?
Look. Privateer sites exist. Use them.
I just wanted to know, since
Allegedly.
your team, you do not live in the market where your team is located. So for me, I will not be getting it regardless. I'm not getting it even if I, anyway, because I live down here in South Florida and I'm a Dolphins fan. So why would I pay $400, $450 for, CBS that I can get anywhere? You know what I mean? For free.
Yeah.
So I could buy a $40 HD antenna and be set. Yeah, whatever. All right. Anyway, that was just, I saw a commercial before we started recording and I was like, I wonder if Tyler's going to get that because he wants to watch Jags games out in LA. But I know the answer to that now.
Look, there is a bar literally 5 minutes away from me that plays all the games, even at 10 a.m. in the morning when NFL games start out here. I'm good.
Let's say you spend $25 at brunch every Sunday. It still is worth it.
Still be worth it.
Still be there. Exactly. But let's say, Tyler, you're a Packers fan.
I get food as part of that too. I get food.
And maybe some beverage. Who knows? Who knows? Tyler, what if you're a Packers fan who is kind of dealing with some heartbreak today before the draft, and that you still want to watch Aaron Rodgers out in New York, because Aaron Rodgers has officially been traded to the New York Jets, and this has to do with, I know whether we're talking about an NFL trade on this college football draft podcast, it is because the draft picks in this year's draft are included in this trade discussion. So the Packers will be receiving the number 13 overall pick in the first round, the number 42 overall pick, that is in the second round, the number 207 overall pick, that is a sixth rounder, and a 2024 conditional second round pick. And the condition on that pick is if Aaron Rodgers plays at least 65% of the snaps, of the Jets snaps, I should say, in 2023, that 2024 second rounder becomes a first rounder. You following me, Tyler?
Yes. So two things. Is that just Jets snaps in general or Jets offensive snaps? Because
that is a great question.
Because I can see some finagling here because Jets, 50% of your time is spent on defense. So there's a little bit of special teams.
I got that from the Adam Schefter tweet from today's Tuesday, April 25th. Yesterday,
I imagine they wouldn't let themselves get screwed like that, and they'd say 65% of the offensive staff. So basically, this is a first round pick.
That's what I was exactly. So we can just chalk it up as a first round pick.
Conditional second round.
Exactly. And then the Jets receive, obviously, quarterback Aaron Rodgers, the number 15 pick in the first round this year, and the number 170 overall pick. That is a fifth rounder. So basically what this boils down to is the Packers in the price for Aaron Rodgers is swapping picks in this year's draft from 15 to 13, a second rounder, a sixth rounder this year, and let's just go ahead and say it's a first rounder next year because he's going to play at least 65% of the snaps. God forbid there's an injury, and we don't wish injury upon anyone regardless of circumstance. He's going to be playing 65% of these snaps. So basically you drop back 2 spots in this year's draft in the first round, a first round pick next year, a second rounder this year, and a sixth rounder this year. And you give up, you get a fifth rounder as well. I would say the Jets did a pretty good job in this trade.
I think this was good. I think this was really good for them. I'll say it feels like a little bit like eventually the Packers came to the situation of, hey, we just got to get this over with. You can try to fleece it all you want. And I think the Packers, they got something out of it. I wouldn't say that they got fleeced, but there's probably a world where you thought they could have gotten more than this. But I mean, at some point you got to get the deal done because he's not he wasn't going to play for the Packers next year.
Right.
Zach Wilson is not involved in this trade at all, which was interesting.
I don't think Zach Wilson's involved in the Jets at all very much.
Well, that's the thing. It's just like they still have the rights to him. They could have traded him to the Packers. It's like, hey, we'll throw this in there for you. I imagine they pitched that. The Packers are like, nah, we good.
No, we're good. We're good.
No.
I'd rather the 6th round pick that you're sending me. Interesting.
So, well, if this was so funny because we have been personally, we is an interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've been factoring in Aaron Rodgers and the Jets for like a month and a half now. Like I've just been assuming that it would happen, and it's so funny that only now has it actually happened.
Well, I think there was a lot of confusion
talking about it. There was a time where we just kind of stopped talking about it, and then I was like, "Wait, that didn't happen yet, right? Like it hasn't been resolved."
Well, I think there was some confusion because I remember when Aaron Rodgers made like the public statement of like, "I intend to play football for the Jets next year," and it was like, okay, well, it's just a matter of when the trade happens. A lot of people were thinking it would be after June 6th, ironically, in that YouTube TV segment we just did. June 6th, I believe, is the beginning of the NFL calendar year, and that's why that date specifically was picked. But the beginning of the NFL calendar year also coincides with a drop in the dead cap money that the Packers have by trading Rodgers. It's like a $20 million cap difference. So, excuse me, personally, I think Sorry. I think the Packers look to be in like a short tank mode. I wouldn't be surprised if they like really, really just, crater this season because of the cap hit that they have to take from trading Rodgers, the dead cap, and then it's fine the next season. I'm very curious to see what the Packers do this season specifically. And what they do with that 13 overall pick now that they go from 15 to 13.
They're going to use every single one of these picks on wide receiver bucket.
I think so. I'll be in Tampa on Thursday when this happens. If I have to I might have to step aside from dinner with Alexa. If the Packers take a wide receiver at 13 overall, I might have to excuse myself and wipe off the tears that I am crying from laughing so hard in the bathroom. Like that might be what happened. That would be the most. I am going to burn down my ex no matter what. Like that was. Oh my god!
I don't say this lightly. The Packers have a chance to do the funniest thing possible here.
Absolutely.
They have the opportunity to do that. And I don't take that lightly.
Well, you know what, Tyler? You, in our mock draft that we're about to begin, you have all the odd picks. So the power's in your hands, my friend, at pick 13. But we will get to that later on. Let's go ahead and jump into this NFL draft, this mock draft that we're doing. Little quick recap, right? Number 1 overall pick is held by the Carolina Panthers. The question, at least in the top 10, the first, I don't know, 2.5 hours of this broadcast, including the pre-show or whatever, will be dominated by the quarterback conversation because we are, at the time of recording, 2 days out from the NFL draft in the first round. And we still don't have like a lockdown who is going to be the first overall pick. It's kind of been a consensus that it's between 3 players: Bryce Young, quarterback out of Alabama, CJ Stroud, quarterback out of Ohio State, and our guy. I don't want to give him the Gator great status yet just because it was a very short run. But I kind of feel like, given his Gainesville is ACR roots, I got to say at least
he's Gainesville great.
You know what? He's not a Gator great. He's a Gainesville great.
Gainesville great.
Gainesville great. Well done, Tyler. Well done. Gainesville great, Anthony Richardson. Now, Richardson is kind of a little bit of a, outside chance. The conversation is dominated by the 2 quarterbacks, which, if you would like to hear that discussion, you can go back 1 episode on your feed. We have that here. We did have a whole quarterback and offensive players discussion. Unfortunately, we didn't have the defensive player discussion episode like we planned last week. That's on me, coach. I had a lot of things going on in my life right now that I'm hoping settled down in the next couple weeks. Nothing bad. Actually, pretty much good. Just a lot of work and a lot of things like that. So I apologize.
It's hard driving out here. It's hard driving out here.
It is, man. It is. The pavement that I'd be grinding on, it'd be hot sometimes, Let's jump into it, Tyler. I asked you before we started recording, I asked you if you wanted the first overall pick or if you wanted to draft for the Jaguars. And you said you would like for me to draft for the Jags to see what
I know
would
what
do.
I want. I know what I want.
Exactly. As like an outsider's perspective as to what this team needs, which I get. And I would have asked you if you could have drafted for the Dolphins, but Tom Brady happened, and that's the last time I want to talk about it. With that being said, Tyler, with the number one...
Sergio, real quick.
Yes.
Let's just take this moment. You'll be done with this talking point after this week.
That might be the best birthday present I've ever received. Not gonna lie. Like, my birthday is April 29th, and it's always around the draft, either one day of the draft or like, I love it. Like every few years, or I should say every 6 or 7 years, we get a draft where it's round one is on my birthday. And that is just chef's kiss, because I can sit down and literally be like, no, I want to watch the first round of the draft this year on my birthday. No one can say anything to me. It's great. It's awesome. With that being said, Tyler, you are on the clock, GM of the Carolina Panthers. You're working with Frank Reich. The number one overall pick in the 2023 NFL draft is...
So quick side question. Are we doing this... I got my 5 minutes. I'm taking all 5 minutes.
That is true. You're on the clock, I should say.
All 5 minutes. No, I would clarification question. Are we doing this as what we would do, or what do we think will happen?
That is an excellent question.
Now before we made any picks.
I think it should be what we would do, because you want to see what I would do as the Jags GM, which I love you, and I know you love your team, but I might be an improvement over your current general manager. I know that you don't feel very you don't feel very strongly about that man.
No, stop, don't.
Hey, if we had to make the Brady joke, then we're making the we're making the joke. Anyway,
I deserve that. Okay,
who would you want?
What was that? Hey, rewind.
Okay,
let's pretend that conversation happened before the beautiful setup that Sergio went into.
Quiet on the set. Thank you. I literally just turned around and yelled in my room for the bit, so you're welcome.
You just yelled at a wall.
I got laundry drying over here for my chin.
Right.
Man.
I'm on the clock.
With the first pick in the 2023 Sideline Judgement NFL mock draft, the Carolina Panthers select...
The Carolina Panthers have thought long and hard about this. And I have many thoughts on the subject, but here's what I say. If you're at number one, you're trying to take a swing at what you think could be the best player with the best traits, everything going right for him. I know everybody in the world, and the odds apparently have been going against this, because odds are trending for Will Levis to be the second quarterback taken allegedly according to sports betting. Which is wild to me.
No, but you know what?
No.
Don't say allegedly there, because anyone who's placing that bet deserves to go to jail. That's absurd. That's absurd. Anyway, continue.
If we're doing what I would do, I'd take the gamble. I'd draft Gainesville great Anthony Richardson, number one overall. And you can call me a homer if you want. I'll take it.
I was going to say, is this general manager thinking, Tyler, or is this I grew up in Jacksonville, my parents are Gator fans, and I went to the University of Florida?
Well, I mean, that's why I like him for sure. But like, I do genuinely think, okay, if we're doing
seriously. I don't think this is an outlandish pick. I agree with you in terms of the traits. It is just a surprise, given that we have had conversations both on and off the air about how Bryce Young seems to be the most plug and play in there. You know what I
mean? I agree. Well, so my situation is, you look at it. I heard this said this week, and I think this is interesting. That like, from in hierarchy of power, like of an NFL organization, owner's the top. Usually, general manager comes next as far as the draft goes. Then the coach. Anthony Richardson's fans are going to be in the owner and the GM circle, and maybe not as much in the coach, because his tape wasn't as good as some of these other guys, like just genuinely. And like, part of that is he started way less games than all of them. He's younger than all of them, and he was probably on the worst team of the four of them. And he was on the worst team of the four.
He was. I don't know why prop.
Let's see. He was on the worst team of the four of them, but Anthony Richardson improved. Nothing has gone wrong for him this draft cycle. He has killed it in interviews, as we knew he would, because he's a great kid. He has all the physical tools you could possibly need. And in my opinion, the thing is that everything that you would, all the issues that Anthony Richardson has, to me, are correctable, are things that he can get better at. Like the rushing thing with Anthony Richardson is just a supplement. He is the best of all these quarterbacks feel for the pocket. He's a statue in all the best ways. He is got all the tools, everything like that. I think if you're just doing a cost benefit analysis of like, if I struck hot on any of these guys, if everything went right on all four of these main guys, who would be the best? In my opinion, it would be Anthony Richardson. Like,
yeah, I mean, now, you can't argue that.
Yeah, like Bryce Young is the thing where like he's better at that right now. And like Bryce Young was almost my pick here if I were doing what I would do. But there is the thing where like you can't fix the fact that Bryce Young is like actually 5'10". Like sorry, he's like 5'9". Like,
he's my height. He's my height. I'm
like,
not even lying.
And a slight at that. Like you can't change that. It's like we'll put some muscle on him. It's like you think Alabama, like you think the University of Alabama and Nick Saban
didn't try to put some muscle on Bryce Young.
They tried. You think that you could succeed at what they tried and failed at? Like this is the same argument with Devontae Smith. It's just like, well, we'll bulk him up when he gets to the NFL. It's like you think Nick Saban's Alabama that he spent 4 years at couldn't do it, and then now suddenly you can.
Now, but the difference there is Devontae Smith is a slot wide receiver. Bryce Young's playing quarterback.
Yeah.
So different body types, different
Anthony Richardson, I think, can be coached. I'm not going back on this. Maybe, yes, there's a little bit of homework. The amount I think that you and I believe in Anthony Richardson does, I think, come a little bit, I'll be honest, from like loving him as a Florida Gator fans and whatnot. But I do think like the NFL for a period of time was in love with this guy. And now it's kind of cooled off, just that's the way that, like I heard this said, and I agree that the draft cycle always runs about 2 weeks too long. Like, we get about 2 weeks out from the draft. We're just like, okay, we've run out of things to talk about. Let's just
let's just draft.
But I think that it's just what I would do is like if you're going to take if you're Frank Reich and you believe you can get the best out of the quarterback you're given, of the four of these, Anthony Richardson undoubtedly has the best traits. No one can argue that, in my opinion.
I agree.
It's just he is the furthest behind in his development track. And if you think you can coach him up, and I think Frank Reich is the guy that could do this, then I don't know why you would take this pick. So
I will say, outside of Seattle, maybe Carolina with Frank Reich as the coach and the weapons that they have on that staff. There's a lot of good coaches in the assistant level, in the analyst level. Outside of maybe Seattle with Pete Carroll, who I really respect and I really think Richardson would do well learning behind Geno as that veteran, similar style, but not exactly. This is probably as ideal of a coaching situation that Anthony Richardson could fall at. I think that will, if this happens, I think that will get overlooked simply because, oh my gosh, Richardson went 1 overall without people realizing, oh my gosh, look at this. And there might be some criticism on Carolina's part going, wow, you gave up all of that draft capital to go up and get someone that you might have been able to get either at 9 or maybe trade up to like 4 or 5 and not give up as much capital. But when you have a roster that's as young and talented as Carolina's is, because Carolina's issue last year was quarterback and coaching, but we can see Matt Rule. We will have a Matt Rule conversation at some point this summer because I'm very intrigued on that.
But then the coaching thing became good. Matt Rule got fired and the coaching was good. There were calls for Steve Wilkes to get the job, but it was just the quarterback. Sam Darnold had the best time of his career in those couple games, but still, like that wasn't good enough. But you could see very clearly a good coach. This roster is not that far away, and it's in a division that is ripe for the taking. Sorry, Sorry, what are we calling them now?
It is poorly. No, is it poorly managed financial portfolio? I think it is poorly managed financial portfolio. Bucks fan Tyler Renfro. That is his entire government name. It's on his social security card. It's kind of crazy. I agree with you. The last thing I think before we move on and go with the rest of the mock, I think that GMs and owners, part of the reason that Richardson is so hyped up and, subsequently, like you said, subsequently cooled down or whatever, he's in that cycle and in the conversations. So people see Josh Allen, and you and I were wrong about Josh Allen coming out of the draft. We're the first ones to admit that. But the same people that are arguing about Richardson, we were those people with Josh Allen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There were red flags for us that were a little bit too much. And that's why I can't discredit the Richardson, not slander, but the Richardson pushback, I should say.
It's because for every Josh Allen, there's five like Jamarcus Russells.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
or Josh Rosen or something. Yeah. It happens.
It happens. But
I get you.
But what Josh Allen did have going for them is that Josh Allen had off-field was like Josh Allen had the work ethic, but also you went into the right coaching situation. A good coach in Buffalo, a good situation.
Mm-hmm.
They hired the right offensive coordinator to develop him. He hasn't been quite as good this past year while he's not there, but
you've seen how good the Giants have been with that coordinator taking over in Dayball as their head coach. So clearly they made the right decision in terms of developing him at the professional level. So
and that's the thing. It's like if Anthony Richardson is going to this spot, probably one of the best places he could go for his development.
I agree. Completely agree. All right. Good pick.
So
I'm on board. I'm on board. So
y'all can come and call us homers. That's fine.
With the second pick in the 2023 sideline. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. The Texans already put in their card, and it's Bryce Young. They didn't even let me finish the bit. They ran to the podium the second you said Richardson, and they took Bryce Young. And there is a party going on at some Houston strip club at the moment right now because Bryce Young is now a member of the Houston Texans. Do you see what you just did to yourself? You, Tyler, you just put Bryce Young in your division. You did this. I want to point this out. As that is called integrity. You made the right decision for the Panthers without thinking about your own personal interest as a Jaguars fan. That I salute my hat to. That is how you spin the homer criticisms, Tyler. You're welcome. I don't think we need to talk that much about Bryce Young. We know the concerns, but we also know the positives. I need to just see him on Sundays in the fall.
It's just a matter of what is it? D'Amico Ryans. It's come from the San Francisco situation, so likely he's going to want to improve the offensive line into a situation where it can help this quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Texans got to be happy that Lovie Smith gave him the double bird on the way out, and they're still in this situation. They still ended up getting what they wanted.
Yeah. And honestly, let's say the Colts take Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. I think they're happy with either or. They're kind of happy to not make the decision. You know, it's like all right, we'll just end up with whichever quarterback doesn't. But in this case, if the Panthers go with Richardson, if I was in charge, I would take Bryce Young because I think he's the most NFL ready at the moment.
And like I meant to say earlier, it's like we'll move on after this. Is that one thing I like about because this draft cycle right now is that we don't know who's going to get picked. Like, and it was like last year is like even if you didn't believe that the Jaguars selecting Trayvon Walker #1 was the right choice, if you thought Aiden Hutchinson would have been better, which at the time I did too, and if you didn't put that in your mock draft, it was just wrong. Like, it doesn't matter if that's what you do.
Right.
Everyone was saying, like, the Jaguars are like, we're drafting this guy. So, if, like, even if it's like, I would do mock, those mocks were like, this is a waste of time. But this is a year where, like, we don't have that assuredness.
Yeah.
The team that's #1 is going to pick a quarterback. We have no clue which one. Team at #2, likely going to pick a quarterback. I would think would be stupid to not pick a quarterback. And we don't know which one either it's fascinating. Continuing.
I agree. Tyler, you are back on the clock. You are in charge of the Arizona Cardinals with the third pick in the 2023 Sideline Judgement mock draft. The Arizona Cardinals select.
I think that interesting. Looking at it here, in reality, they would want to trade out of this pick. We discussed that.
Yes, correct. And they still might. I mean, it's Tuesday, April 25th at the moment, but they still might trade. They might trade it on draft night. Who knows?
I think we're going to go, though. They need defensive line help. They need help at so many spots. But they need defensive line help. I'm debating between two players, but I think I'm going to go with Will Anderson Jr., the edge defender from Alabama.
Good pick.
It's either him or Jalen Carter. Either I think would help. But I do think that specifically the Cardinals are in a position that they need speed.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not a good roster, man. It's not a good roster.
No, it's not.
And
They're really in rebuild mode. So get the player that you know is a sure thing, and we all know he's a sure thing. So good pick. Next up, we have the Indianapolis Colts, and now this is now the most interesting pick in the draft. If Anthony Richardson goes 1 overall, Bryce Young goes 2 overall, and Will Anderson goes 3. Now we're in a situation where the Colts go, do we take a quarterback that we may or may not 100% like? Or do we go with a blue chip type player that we know can be on the roster in 5 or 6, 7 years? You know what I mean? This is difficult now. Wow. Let me tell you where my head's at, right?
Okay.
Obviously, CJ Stroud is the top quarterback prospect left on the board, followed by Will Levis. Now, this is what we would do. I think the Colts might be thinking Will Levis, might be okay with drafting Will Levis. Sergio, as the GM of the Colts, is not going near that. So that is not on the table for me. My questions now are, do I draft CJ Stroud, or I will be 100% full disclosure with you, do I take Peter Skornowski, the offensive tackle out of Northwestern? Those are the two avenues that I will go, because I think my philosophy is, if I'm not 100% sure about a player when I'm taking them, I'm going to go best player available, but I'm going to go best player available at a very, very important position. And you could argue that offensive tackle it's not a quarterback, because we know quarterback is the most important position, but it's probably second or third. Football is won in the trenches, as we all know. So do I go with someone that I'm not 1,000% sold on in CJ Stroud, or do I go with a tackle that, to be honest, I could probably get another tackle later on if I really need to trade up? And as I'm kind of stalling for time as I think about this decision, I think that I'm going to end up taking CJ Stroud, quarterback out of Ohio State. I know certain people who are Colts fans who are not thrilled with CJ Stroud. But I do think that CJ Stroud, I think you have to take him in this situation.
Well,
right?
That was what I was going to say, is that you were making some excellent points that frankly I had never ever considered, because in my mind I was like, there's no way any member of the Colts front office can even get past this pick without picking a quarterback. Even if somebody trades into 3 and takes a quarterback, and they have to get the 4th one, in my opinion, with Chris Ballard and everything, Jim Irsay's impatience, Chris Ballard on the docket, it's that situation where they got to pick a quarterback, or else they may not be picking again. And
what I would do in this spot, I would trade out of this pick. If that is how the board falls, if Richardson goes 1 and if Young goes 2, before pick 3 is called in, I am calling. Let me look at the order. I am calling Detroit. I am calling the Raiders. I am calling the Falcons. I am calling the Titans. I am calling the Patriots. I am calling Washington. I'm calling all of those teams and go, hey, CJ Stroud's right there. You want him? Here's the price. Oh, sorry. I'm getting a call from Houston. I'm getting a call from Tennessee. Give me a second. Yep. Sorry. Price of the brick went up. That is what I'm doing. I am stalling. I am negotiating. I am using every second of those 5 minutes that feel like 30 on draft night. And I am getting the best package possible to move down and stockpile my war chest. That's what I would do. But given we're not doing any trades in this mock, I agree with you. I think that Ballard and Irsay, specifically Ballard, with the amount of leash he's been given over the years, he's got to take a quarterback. You know what I mean?
Take quarterback.
I got to take quarterback. And I would rather CJ Stroud than Will Levis or any of the guys after that. So
yeah,
that is who I pick.
Next on the clock, Seattle Seahawks. Seattle would have been open to drafting a quarterback, but the only quarterback that's really fallen to them is Will Levis, who at his best is just Geno Smith. Will likely, at Will Levis's best, will probably be the same level that Geno Smith that you have right now.
And that's not an insult.
No, but Seattle is in a situation where if a quarterback they like falls to them, they could invest in that and take it because Geno Smith's deal. They signed Geno Smith to a deal, but it's not the craziest deal in the world. It only is for a couple of years, and like we are all real here. Geno Smith's not getting any younger. So if Richardson, Stroud, or Win Young had fallen to them, I think they'd be into it. But it's Will Levis, who to me this is what we would do. I wouldn't take with this pick if Richardson, Young, or CJ Stroud was here. Like if you didn't pick CJ Stroud, Seattle's racing the pick to the board.
Will
Levis is the only one here, and Seattle's not very interested in that. So I'm taking Jalen Carter, defensive tackle from Georgia.
At a position that Seattle desperately needs. Yeah, completely agree. That is the smart pick right there. Okay, now we have the Detroit Lions at pick 6. Talk about the difference that a year makes, right? I mean, they almost make the playoffs. They definitely have their best season in God knows how long. They really do some good things this season. Now, Jared Goff has decided they're keeping their coordinator, who there were rumors that he was going to leave. He's staying on board. I think that this is I think this is the best spot to either get like a weapon at wide receiver or stockpile on the line. You know what I mean? I know I'm going to say this a lot, but good offensive linemen are hard to come by, and it is a very important position. I think given everything that has kind of happened in the last few years in terms of the wide receiver revolution of everybody's got a capital G guy, I would be tempted to go ahead and take Quentin Johnson here, but I know that they have Armon St. Brown. Jameson Williams is coming back from his injury and, all that stuff. So I think I'm just going to go safe here. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Peter Skoronski, the offensive tackle at Northwestern. It may not be a quote unquote position of need, but I do think that even though they already have some really good weapons, and I think that it would be more beneficial and it would kind of show a bit of belief in Jared Goff heading into this season. Now, after this season, I don't know what they want to do, but at least going into this year, their priority should be make the playoffs, because I can't remember the last time the Lions made the playoffs, and that would be a massive, massive thing in that city. So, yeah, I'll take a lineman, keep him there for a few years, and be able to look at my quarterback and say, "Go do it. Go do it this year. Go make the playoffs. We believe in you this season. Go do it." You know what I mean? So that's what I would do.
All right. So next up on the clock, the Raiders. Raiders.
The Raiders, man.
Raiders, their needs is quarterback because they signed Jimmy G, which is what it is. So you're taking Jimmy G and putting him in not Kyle Shanahan's system.
Yeah, that is true.
Here's where what will happen bleeds in a little bit. What I would do, even though I'm not a big fan of Will Levis, is the thing where it's a situation of like, yeah, but he won't have to play immediately. He might as well take the swing. However, I'm like super convinced Josh McDaniels will not do that. I don't think Josh McDaniels wants to draft a rookie. Like that's why he signed Jimmy G. Like if he wanted to draft a rookie, they probably would have started putting some trades together, not sign Jimmy G to try and get up a couple spots. But they didn't want to do that. So I don't think they're going QB. I think you just took Peter Skoronski, who is what I was looking at. I'm thinking they're going to go with cornerback Devon Witherspoon from Illinois.
Good pick.
Put somebody in the secondary.
Good pick. All right, moving forward, the Atlanta Falcons. Honestly, I think I'm going to do it. Quentin Johnson, wide receiver, TCU.
Oh.
I'm going to give them big boy wide receiver help. I am going to give them not Julio Jones 2.0 because that implies that he is a better, more polished version of Julio Jones, but I am giving them a Julio Jones type, which is something that they have missed since Julio Jones kind of started to fall victim to Father Time after the Super Bowl. So I think, and in a similar, given that they haven't traded for Lamar Jackson yet, given that they don't want to, all these things, in a similar vein, you put a little bit of confidence in Desmond Ridder. Now, I'm not saying that Desmond Ridder should be the starting quarterback in Atlanta, but I know that that's what they're going to do. That's where what they are going to do creeps in. He is. That's what he is. Give him a good wide receiver to go up and get the ball at times. So I'll take Quentin Johnson, what we believe to be the best wide receiver in the draft, at least like traditional big wide receiver one guy.
Okay. So Chicago's on the clock. So they got some needs at tackle and center. I don't really love the value here for a lot of those guys, but they need some help on the defensive line. Let me see. Give me 2 seconds as I am trying to figure out what I want to do.
While you think of that, we have the Bears are the team that traded with Carolina. This was Carolina's original pick, so they dropped back to 9. And according to PFF, their team needs are tackle, center, defensive line, and cornerback, like defensive back corner.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously Justin Fields is their quarterback.
I think I'm going to go with edge defender Nolan Smith from Georgia to bump up the defensive line.
Good pick. Good, reliable pick.
Yeah, I don't think there's too many problems with that. I think the ideal situation for the Bears is that Jalen Carter still falls to them at 9. So they're hoping that's happening, but this is still good. So moving on.
Yeah, we got the Eagles at pick 10. This is a situation where I am eyeing a player that I think would be a great fit for the Eagles, but I think picking them at pick 10 is a little bit high. But I also don't want to wait until pick 30 because I don't think that player will be there. So this may be a bit of a reach, but when you're the defending NFC champions, when you just made the Super Bowl and you're picking at pick 10 because you did a smart trade a few years ago, I think you're allowed to take a little bit of a swing when you have that pick because it's gravy at this point, right? Like that's not what you should have been thinking of. It's not in the plans there. So I am going to take Darnell Wright, the tackle out of Tennessee, to bolster the offensive line. They got some age on the offensive line, specifically Lane Johnson, who suffered injuries during the postseason last year, played through it because he's a dog. He got that dog in him. But I think that bringing in a tackle like that, which I went back and I was watching SportsCenter and Louis Riddick was doing his like draft guys that he likes that aren't like the top 5 guys. And he was just showing clips about, he was just like showing Tennessee game clips about Darnell Wright at tackle. And every play I was like, man, he's good. He's good at pass protection. He's good at run blocking. He's good at screens. I was like, man, he's good. I didn't remember how good he was. Like, I remember when we played him when Florida played Tennessee, I was like, man, he's good. But I didn't really realize how good he was. And I think that getting someone of that caliber and putting them on the line, on a line that is, let's be real, is aging. I think 2 or 3 of those guys are already in their mid-30s and such. Lane Johnson, I just talked about the injuries during the postseason. Kelsey brothers, like coming back for one more year kind of thing. Yeah, I will. I'll take this tackle. And it's because I don't think, honestly, I would maybe think about trading back if I'm Philly. Maybe like 5 or 6 picks, nothing too crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna go with him there, even though I just don't think he's gonna be there at 30. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
That's why I went with Darnell Wright.
Yeah.
So
I'm on the clock next with Tennessee at pick 11, and I think we're going on a little tackle run because I think Tennessee's going to pick Paris Johnson Jr., tackle from Ohio State.
Good pick.
I think reason being, wide receiver is also a need for the Tennessee Titans, along with, in my opinion, quarterback. But I'm not stupid. They're not going to do that. But additionally, as much as it's what we would do, and I do think it would be kind of silly for me to draft wide receiver because I just don't believe they're going to do that. Like,
yeah, I get it. I
don't believe that Tennessee is going to draft a wide receiver in the first round. To be fair, this is not an incredible wide receiver class. It's solid. There are some good guys in it. but it ain't last year. You know, it ain't the year before. It ain't all those Alabama crazy years with the Jalen Waddles and the Devontae Smiths and the Henry Ruggs. Although, you know, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so I think Paris Johnson Jr. tackle. I think they have an aging line as well. Tennessee's line play used to be their strength, and now it's becoming a weakness. So they need to remake it a strength because I don't see their play style changing anytime soon. So they need to reinvest in that.
Completely agree. Next up is the Houston Texans. Again, they get this pick from the Cleveland Browns in the redacted trade. And I think that Tyler, so in this mock, right, I took Bryce Young at pick 2. And I think that if you are a quarterback who is shorter, I think the Tua experiment in Miami has proved that you get some guys who can run, you get some guys who are good in short space, you get a really good slot receiver, you can kind of get the offense humming a little bit, at least enough to spread the defense open to then do other things. And I also think this would instantly become a college football fan's like favorite draft, like first round draft, like the best grade kind of thing. And for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and do a college football super team over here. I'm going to give Bryce Young, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. I'm going to give him a good slot wide receiver to be dependable for him, that, you know, they can grow together and they can kind of be, you know, the faces of that franchise moving forward in a perfect world, right? We never know what's going to happen, but that's the hope, you know? So sorry that I just gave your division rival to really good players we like.
It's not that. I'm not worried about that.
You were going to take him with the Packers, weren't you?
I was going to freaking take him with the Packers, Sergio. I had it ready to go, and I had to tear that card up. That was going to be the fastest pick I ever made. No. All right.
Sorry.
So that's a good for the Texans, I think.
Thanks.
They don't have a lot of talent at any of their positions. So
yeah,
it's tough when teams are just that bad that you're like, I don't think there are bad picks. You just, for like, oh, we don't need that. I'm like, you kind of need one of everything. So just take whatever you can get. And if you get a good player, you get a good player. Like,
right. I agree.
Pick 13, the Packers are on the clock, needs quarterback and wide receiver. The next best wide receiver is Jordan Addison. I feel like this is a little rich for Jordan Addison. So I just, as much as I really want to pick a wide receiver, I don't think I'm going to right now.
Makes sense.
Quarterback, I don't think they would view the need for the solve for their quarterback need if they, as Will Levis. They have Jordan Love. They need to see what they get out of him. It's insane that it's taken this long for Jordan Love to get his moment, but
same draft as Tua, guys. Just want to point that out. Same draft as Tua and Joe Burrow, like same exact draft.
But the other options, like needs, are tight end, defensive line, safety. I think I'm actually going to go. I think I'm going to go with tight end. I think I'm going to go with Dalton Kincaid, tight end out of Utah. Still get a pass catcher. But to help out Jordan Love, but not quite. I think it's time for the first tight end to go off the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I thought you were going to give Dalton Kincaid to the Jets. You were going to give Aaron Rodgers a nice rookie, reliable tight end weapon. That's what I thought you were going to do. But this makes perfect sense. I get that. And yeah, like I agree. They won't take Levis. Like they need to see what they have with Love. They need to give him a year at a minimum, right? Like a whole offseason, no questions, no drama, no darkness retreats. Like just go in there and do your thing. So good pick. All right, next up, I have the Patriots. So the Patriots
make it honestly.
In 2021, they took Mac Jones. I don't think they're going to try to go again for quarterback there, even though I think the team need is quarterback. But like at that point, like is Will Levis really that much of an improvement over Mac Jones? Like, let's be real. I don't think so.
Actually, that's the thing. I actually think when Mac Jones has been good, i.e. that 1 year that he had Josh McDaniels, like he was good. Like he was
Yeah.
solid. Like
He was serviceable. He was a serviceable quarterback.
He was very much like Mac Jones is entirely dependent on what kind of offensive coordinator you put around him, which, to be completely honest, many quarterbacks are. And I don't want to say like that. I'm not saying that like it's a bad thing. It's just
right.
But I don't know. I don't know if Will Levis, like, one of my least favorite things about the Will Levis discourse that I've seen is that people are like, you put Will Levis on like Alabama and whatnot, I bet the story's different. I bet people aren't like hitting on him as much. And I'm like, Will Levis was on Penn State.
I was gonna say Will Levis couldn't beat out Sean Clifford. Like, that's a fact. That is a fact.
A fact of life. Like, it's just like, so like Will Levis didn't start at Kentucky because like that's the thing. It's very often sometimes Kentucky's the type of school that like will get a quarterback that nobody sees coming, like nobody rates highly, and ends up being really good. Like Kentucky's at that Mississippi State level where like Mississippi State got Dak Prescott, and it's like, oh wow, Dak Prescott. Like you can't harp on Dak Prescott for like that same thing because like Mississippi State is where he went. Will Levis went to Penn State and couldn't beat Sean Clifford and went and transferred to Kentucky. So it
would have been different if Dak Prescott went to Bama and then transferred to Mississippi State, but that is not what happened. So
I only say that to be like Mac Jones was at Bama and had great weapons, but also played way better than Will Levis has ever played. Like,
he was also in a quarterback room with Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa. So, to give him a little credit, a little, benefit of the doubt there. But all that being said, the Patriots, I think, Bill Belichick, and he loves his corners. I think we're going to go Christian Gonzalez, cornerback out of Oregon.
Yeah.
Welcome to New England, my friend. Have fun. Can't wait for you to get torched by Tyreek Hill twice a year. Going to be great. Or Jalen Waddle. Take your pick, have fun. Next up, we have the New York Jets, who have the 15th pick because of that Rodgers trade. Who are you taking for the Jets, Tyler?
Okay. Let me think. The Jets' number one need right now is offensive line.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see. What tackles do we? They need some tackles. They got to protect good old Aaron Rodgers. Got to make sure he plays 65% of those snaps, man. We need that first round pick next year. So I'm gonna go with Broderick Jones, tackle from Georgia.
There you go. Good pick. I was eyeballing that as well. Okay. Now as we get Washington, I think Washington is a bit spurned by the Dwayne Haskins situation. Rest in peace, the man. But like, he slipped. He was one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks. He wasn't drafted, slipped, and he fell to them. And they were like, let's go, let's take him. Oh my gosh. But it didn't work out. And I feel like that would be a similar situation with Will Levis, even though I think that Will Levis would be good under Ron Rivera. Like, Ron Rivera is a good coach for a young quarterback to be under. I just wouldn't put the gamble on that there. I would honestly rather, I know Heineke's not there anymore, but like a player like a Heineke, I would rather have.
Well, they've got Sam Howell as well. They only.
Yeah, and you know how I feel about Sam Howell, so. Yeah. So why would I ruin Sam Howell's training camp as QB1? With that being said, other needs are on the offensive line and linebackers. I think I'm going to go a little bit different. I'm going to go with a player that can play a bit of linebacker in a 3-4 system. We saw it a bit at Iowa, and I think that even though he's listed as a traditional edge rusher, I've seen him play as like that outside linebacker style. I'm going to take Lucas Van Ness out of Iowa. That's who I'm going to take. I think he'll fit in there well. And this is another case of let's just go get a guy, a capital G guy. So that's who I am taking. Tyler, head on over to Pittsburgh. Who are you taking?
Pittsburgh Steelers needs some tackle, defensive back, linebacker. Let's see who'd be good for them. Sorry that I'm not talking enough.
It's okay. Like you said, tackle, linebacker, defensive back. Steelers missed the playoff last year for the first time in a while.
Yeah, but they did have a winning record.
They did.
I'm going to end. I'm going to go Joey Porter Jr., the cornerback from Penn State, because I think it's a defensive head coach, defensive everything. They need to make sure the defense is good. They're not trying to build this team to out-troop people with Kenny Pickett. They're building up the defense. So Joey Porter Jr.
And Joey Porter Jr. went to Penn State in the area. His dad is Joey Porter. Played for the Steelers at one point. So I like the pick. It's a good fit. Next up, we have the second pick for the Detroit Lions. I went ahead and went blue chip offensive tackle. First one off the board, Peter Skornowski with pick 6. Now that that's been taken, I think we can have a little bit more fun here, right? We can maybe go some, different type of player, different position. This isn't necessarily listed as a team need, but I do think that this player is too good to continue to fall down. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to do it. Even though Kalijah Cansey is on the board at interior defensive lineman, and that is technically listed as a team. Oh, no, that might be irresponsible, man. Okay, I'm full transparency, Tyler. I'm thinking Brian Branch. I think a good secondary player would fit in well over there. They just signed Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, so I think pairing him with CJ, I think would be a good fit. But you know what? I think it's a bit irresponsible when you need
you can
interior.
You can do whatever you want.
I know.
You can do whatever you want.
I know, but I'm going to go Kalijah Cansey because you need defensive linemen in the defensive interior, and it would be. I do like Kalijah Cansey a lot, and I think it would be irresponsible to do that. But I really wanted to. Wouldn't it be fun to see Brian Branch next to CJ Gardner-Johnson? CJ?
Sure, yeah.
That'd be a fun
I think it'd be more fun in other places, but whatever.
Oh, okay. All right. Good to know. Good to know.
If anyone can't understand where I think Brian Branch should go,
well, Tyler, stop thinking about that. Start thinking about poorly managed financial portfolio Bucks fan Tyler Renfro and who will be playing in the stadium that I saw Taylor Swift at a couple of weeks ago. Subtle flex, subtle brag, if you want to call it that. The things we do for our significant others. Anyway, you have the Bucks pick.
I do.
Who do you want to put in Tampa? Team needs quarterback, tight end, offensive lineman, interior offensive lineman, safety, wide receiver. Take your pick, Tyler. You got a wide open canvas over here.
Let me just look at something real quick.
Okay. Go ahead and take a look.
No.
As Tyler decides who he is considering for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I want to remind everyone that upcoming in May, we will be having our Multiverse of College Football episode with my stepdad, Raul, who will be coming on the podcast. I'm going up to Virginia to visit my parents, and I will be able to record that episode. Tyler and I do not know what's going on with that episode. That is an all Raul affair. He is producing it. I'm producing it, but he put together the rundown and everything. We do not know what he's going to have conversations on. So that I think will be one of our better episodes upcoming. He tells me he's very excited. So keep an eye out for that in May. Tyler's giving me a look. Seems like he's got the pick for the Bucks. Tyler, who you send to Tampa?
Well, I'm a full believer, and again, Homer Tyler is showing up. I'm a full believer that Kyle Trask is going to prove the haters wrong this season.
Amen.
And oh God, I hope so. And in order to help him do that, I'm going to give him a weapon, a tight end.
Oh,
Bucks do love their tight end. I'm going to give him Michael Mayer, tight end from Notre Dame. Nice
good
safety
pick.
blanket. He's our, we know Kyle Trask loves his tight ends. So
absolutely.
Michael
good
Mayer.
pick. Good pick. Next up, we have Seattle with their second pick. Their first pick was Jalen Carter. That's what Tyler gave them, defensive lineman out of Georgia. Great pick, as we both believe. Team needs, I see guard, my friend, and we're going to continue this homer train. I'm going to give them Osiris Torrance. I think he would be a great fit in Seattle. I don't need to say anything else. I'll give him Osiris.
I think that would work, yeah.
Yep. The next pick would have been the Miami Dolphins, but we already made that joke. I just wanted to say that that's what it would have been. Pick number 21 is the Los Angeles Chargers. Tyler, you're an LA resident. You're a member of the Big 12 of the Big 10 city. What are you giving Justin Herbert and the Chargers?
I don't think that you can sit here and not. I know it's not listed. To me, the Chargers have exactly two needs that you have to address: either wide receiver or possibly running back.
Could be, depending on the Austin Eckler situation. He has been granted permission to seek a trade. And last year on draft night, A.J. Brown was traded. So it could be that he's traded on draft night. Could be.
Yes, but let's be real here. I'm going to offend some people with this. Austin Eckler, great fantasy football running back. And he's a good pass catching running back. But you need a real running back, all right? They don't have a real running game. It's just Austin Eckler running into the line a couple times and catching passes.
You're going to do it, aren't you?
You're going to do it. Largely, maybe.
You're going to do it.
Who can say? Is that their offensive system was terrible. And you know what is the easiest way to fix a bad offense?
Scoring points.
Generational running back talent is what I was going to say.
Generational running back talent.
I'm going to draft Bijan Robinson.
All right.
Pick 21.
Pick 21 in the first running back off the board. Analytics guys are blowing their heads in because they hate this pick.
They can suck it.
I like the logic.
I'm not usually a running back in the first round type of guy, but Bijan Robinson is a special player.
Understandably so.
And they're in the position that they either needed that, who are a dynamic running back, or they needed a wide receiver. It was either him or it was Jordan Addison, and I picked. Understandably so.
I have the next pick with the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to draft Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry, I can't do that. I can't just give him the contract that he deserves, that he should be getting from them. No, I can't. Okay. Anyway, but I will be doing my best to entice him. I know they drafted Odell Beckham Jr. I am fully aware of the situation. I know they need edge rushers. I know they need defensive help. But my friends, my brothers my brother in Christ, a man that you just mentioned is still on the board, and his name is Jordan Addison, and this is a run to the podium pick for me. Easy pick for me. Jordan Addison, whether it's Lamar, and it should be Lamar, or someone else, give them the wide receiver weapons. Call me crazy, but Odell Beckham Jr., a year and a half removed from a torn ACL, north of 30 years old, isn't inspiring me with the most confidence. I also think the last time we saw OBJ was when he was with the Rams, and he was an incredible number 2 opposite of Cooper Kupp. I think that if Jordan Addison kind of takes the reins as the wide receiver 1 and the franchise guy going forward, we can see OBJ as a wide receiver 2, which is where we saw him kind of thrive in the beginning of the second half of his career out in Los Angeles. So, give him Jordan Addison.
More than anything, the Ravens just need wide receivers that can get first downs, man.
Man. And that's been their biggest issue since they've had Lamar, right? They just haven't been able to land outside of who's the tight end that you love to hoard in our fantasy league? Mark Andrews, your beloved
Lamar Jackson combination that is likely now going to be ruined forever. Yes, I'm aware.
Yes. Excellent news for members of the SOTD Fantasy League. Excellent news for everyone else. Castle Questers, the castle is crumbling right now. So that's my pick. Tyler, why don't you go ahead and think of who the Minnesota Vikings will take with the number 23 overall pick? Because that's what
I kind of want to deviate from what it's telling me I should do.
Okay.
To do what I truly believe.
I mean, you did it with Bijan just now, and I like the logic.
It's not on their needs, and I can't.
Who is it?
It's funny because I don't know if I would do this, but at the same time, I don't know if I would do this, but at the same time, I'm so frustrated with the Vikings because they keep going down this path. They keep signing themselves up for a path that's not going to work out for them. Well, okay. They keep hitching themselves to the Kirk Cousins trade tracks. And I'm like, you're just beating your head against a wall. I just don't think it's ever going to get you where you need to go. So you could take a gamble on somebody quarterback-wise if you wanted to. I don't know if I believe in this guy, but I do believe the Vikings should do something different. So I'm torn.
Okay. Do you think, let's just be real here. Let's be adults. Do you think that Will Levis is an upgrade over Kirk Cousins. An upgrade. I'm not saying, okay, so then why would you waste a first round pick when you're still tied to this player? If the Vikings take Will Levis, I'm going to make fun of it as much as I made fun of the Jordan Love pick. I'm not kidding, because I'm not saying that Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers are the same person. They are quite literally the opposite. One is arguably the greatest thrower of the football, the greatest player to play the position, one of, if not, at least top 5 ever, all time. The other is first ballot Hall of Fame ski mask. All right. Like, let's be real with what they are. But I do believe that it is franchise malpractice to be like, well, listen, I know that Kirk Cousins is going to win us a Super Bowl, but maybe we take a gamble on this guy. You can make that pick if you're taking Anthony Richardson with those types of traits and upside. If you're taking Bryce Young, if you're taking CJ Stroud, I get that. You want to replace Will Levis? I'm sorry, you want to replace Kirk Cousins with Will Levis? Like, at least I know what I'm going to be getting out of Kirk Cousins. As long as I don't play on primetime, we're good. All right? Just don't put me in a primetime game, and I'm good. All right?
But
who are you going to take?
But it would be funny, though.
Yeah, but the bit, though. But the bit.
No, I'm gonna take quarterback Deontay Banks.
Okay. All right. That's a good pick.
They had a pretty bad pass defense this year. They should fix that.
Yes. They should trade for Lamar Jackson. That's my take.
Whoa, I hadn't thought about that.
They should trade for Lamar.
I thought other purple teams were off the table, so I didn't even think about that. He would be out of the conference.
He would be out of the conference.
Trade for Kirk Cousins in like a pick or so.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I actually really like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it will work out.
If that's the case, you got to feel so bad for the Lions. Like, you got to be like, all right, we kicked the Vikings' butt this past year. We're getting it together. Oh, Aaron Rodgers out of the division? Perfect. Bears are a mess? All right, it's our time. Down here, it's our time. Full Goonies mode. And then the Vikings trade for Lamar Jackson. You're like, come on!
That'd be funny.
Throw a chair.
But you know what's crazy? And this is the way that I'll work the Dolphins into this draft. A lot of people would have been Dolphins fans' reaction down here, because the Bills are the Bills and have Josh Allen and they're improving and this and that, blah, blah, blah. The Jets just landed Aaron Rodgers. And while I still don't think that team top to bottom has the roster to compete with Miami or Buffalo, you can't deny Aaron Rodgers. He's still Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? Until he is a 2-time MVP 2 years removed. Okay. Like, let's a back-to-back MVP 2 years removed. He's still got it in him, I think, a bit, at least for this season. So I mean, I don't think it's that out of the possibility. I think the Lions are on a good track. I would probably be like, oh my God, I can't believe that. But I wouldn't be that afraid.
It doesn't mean that they're going to win or lose the division. It's just one of those things just like, oh, it so clearly got more difficult.
Yeah. And it makes you think too, like, wow, okay, Minnesota to get Lamar.
Jets doesn't mean that Miami is any, like, it doesn't mean that Miami won't win the division or all this other stuff, or won't win the Super Bowl. But it does empirically mean that it did just get harder.
That is true.
You can't say that it is now easier with Aaron Rodgers.
You went from division. You went from maybe like potential division champion to I hope we get a wild card. That's what you went from. All right, let me move forward. Let me head down south. Let me go to Duval County.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Hear me out.
Okay.
You like blonde quarterbacks.
I do deserve this.
You do deserve it. You do deserve it. I'm not going to do that because I love you. But that's funny. No, but in all seriousness, I was kind of looking while you were talking about that imaginary trade to Minnesota, Lamar trade to Minnesota, and I'll tell you where my mind's at. Right, my mind is thinking, you need offensive linemen. I don't think that your offensive linemen were bad though, so I think that you can address that need later on in the draft. Yes, you just lost Juwan Taylor to the Chiefs in free agency, but I feel like you guys have enough pieces and they played well enough this season that it's not like we need a first round lineman right now, whatever kind of thing. So I think you can address that need in round 2 or 3 or something like that, where it's still day 2, but not immediate. So I'm kind of throwing linemen out the window there in terms of value. You do need an edge rusher and you do need some defensive backs. Like, I do think you're going to go defense in this draft. And I know that I'm honestly, Tyler, it's between Brian Branch, safety out of Alabama, or it's between Miles Murphy, the edge out of Carolina, out of Clemson. And I think silence.
I'm not going to say anything.
No, I think I'll go Brian Branch. I know that's who you would prefer, but I think I'll go Brian Branch. I liked him last year at Bama.
Victory!
And honestly,
we have
Miles,
victory to our waterlog.
Miles Murphy's really good, and if I think he'll be there at pick 24 if someone takes Brian Branch earlier, and I don't think you should be mad at that pick if that's the case. But I do think, given the way that our mock draft is shaken out, I think that's the best decision on the board. So you're welcome, Tyler. You're welcome.
I agree, and I'm so happy that you agree with me. Brian Branch,
seriously, though, I did think I did think Anton Harrison, the tackle out of Oklahoma, but I have a feeling that after the top 2 or 3 tackles go, everyone's gonna wait. Everyone's like, those are day 2 guys. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'm not worried.
I can see that.
So that's my thoughts. But you now are picking for the New York Giants. So
hear me out.
Will Levis.
That was the joke. Yes. All right. Top needs for New York: wide receiver, center, linebacker, and safety. So this it becomes tough because none of those have that high of a value right now, based on the players that have fallen to them. Let's see. Zay Flowers is the highest rated wide receiver left. I don't really feel comfortable taking Zay Flowers in the first round.
Really? Wait, you don't?
I don't know. Like, he's just.
I didn't know that.
I don't know. He's very fast, but like he's a movable weapon. It's just he's 5'9", and I don't think that's what the Giants need.
Okay, so let me. No. Hold on. I hear you. I hear you.
I'm thinking it out a little bit more now, and I'm like, the Giants don't have any wide receivers.
So that was why I was like, really? You think that? Number one, but number two, even if it's not the Giants, do you still not think that he's worth taking in the first? Is it because you think he'll be available in the second, or you think he's not a round one talent?
It's okay. It doesn't matter if I think he's not a round one talent or not, because I'm of the belief that like people talk about that a lot, and I'm like, okay, but there are usually 32 picks in the first round, and that means that usually 32 players have to go. Like, doesn't matter if you have first round talents on them. So
I love how you said usually. Thanks.
You're welcome. It's a weird year.
Yeah, I wonder why. It's crazy.
Maybe it's just, here's a better way to put it. Quentin Johnson, Jackson Smith-Njigba, and Jordan Addison, to me, different tier.
Agreed.
Player. Then Zay Flowers, kind of his own tier. Then all the other kind of wide receivers after him.
I agree.
And the thing with Zay Flowers is that he's very talented. He is the best separator of this group. But he is 5'9". He is so clearly a slot build. Like, Jackson Smith-Njigba is more of a slot build, but in a lot of ways, it's that, like, but if he's good enough, if he's got that Antonio Brown thing going for him, like, he might be able to, like, him and Jordan Addison are, like, if they're really good enough, despite the smaller sizes, they could still get that level of production. Zay Flowers, to me, will always be a slot guy. Now, always could be wrong. And I actually think, now that I'm thinking about it more, like, Zay Flowers, it's very, like, he is the best. The best way to use Zay Flowers would be to move him around, make him, like a movable weapon, like that Tyreek Hill type of thing, where it's like you want him all over the field because he's a good separator. He's fast, not as fast as some other players that we have here, which is maybe another thing that's going against him, is that wide receivers this small typically run faster than Jordan Addison did at the combine. Like, not that he's slow. He's just not one of the faster wide receivers. But I think, though, is that New York, now that I'm actually thinking more about it, I'm talking myself into it. New York is an offense that is very much about scheming people up. And creating offense. And like creating with play design, like people open, gadget, like scheming people open, more than some other offenses that are more like, let's run the play, our guy beats your guy. New York is definitely more about like, hey, the scheme is going to get these guys open. And if that's the case, Zay Flowers is kind of a skill set you'd want to have in that situation. So I can't believe that I fully flipped and changed my mind. Because the other one is that John...
And you're going to go Zay Flowers.
I think so, but like the other one is John Michael Schmitz, the center from Minnesota, who like, it's this thing where you definitely need a center, but could you get him in round 2? I don't know.
Makes sense.
I'm going to go Zay Flowers. Okay. I can't believe you talked me. You let me stand up here and talk myself into it.
Listen,
your influence is crazy.
You're welcome. I'm going to make this quick. I have the Cowboys next. The positions of need are running back, interior defensive lineman, linebacker, and corner. For interior defensive lineman, linebacker, and corner, there are no more round 1 players. Like, it is not worth taking a player that you can get on days 2 or 3 in some of those positions. And honestly, since you already took Bijan Robinson, I'm just going to go Jahmyr Gibbs. Because Tony Pollard and Jahmyr Gibbs would be a lethal 1-2 punch. Tell me I'm not wrong. I
can't say you're wrong. It would be fun to watch.
It would be fun to watch, and I think that a team...
Buffalo's mad, by the way.
Buffalo... you don't think I'm aware Buffalo's mad? Come on, man. This is a little... All right, peel back the curtain. Yes, it would be very fun to see Tony Pollard and Jahmyr Gibbs as a 1-2. But this is some self-preservation going on over here, all right? The Dolphins can't make a pick, but I can be defensive in favor of the Dolphins, all right? Let's not get it twisted over here, okay? This isn't not so much of what they should do, what I think they'll do. This is Sergio would like Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson gone before the Buffalo Bills make a pick. That is what this is going on right here. And I'm not ashamed of it. Call me a homer. I am. Fins up. Next up, the Buffalo Bills at pick 27.
You had a lot of fun with that one, didn't you?
I did have a lot of fun with that one. I did. I was looking at the other positions and I was like, no, that's a day 2 guy. Oh, no. Oh, I'd like him as day 2 or 3, day 3 guy. And then I went to running backs and went, oh, hell no. Ain't no way I'm letting the Bills next to get Jahmyr Gibbs. Get out of here.
It's fully who I was going to pick. 100%.
Yep. So
I'm going to go with... I'm looking at some players. Interested in Emmanuel Forbes, the cornerback. They need some defensive line help. I'm gonna go with Tyree Wilson, the defensive lineman out of Texas Tech.
Good pick. I like it. I think that's a good pick there. A little bit. Yeah. Tyree Wilson, you said, right?
Yeah, Tyree Wilson, defensive line.
Okay, good. Just making sure I heard that right. Good pick. At 28, I have the Bengals. Let's have fun.
Hear me out.
Let's have fun. Hear me out. Get out of here. Let's have fun. Let's take a look. This is a situation where I'm looking over. I think that one of the reasons why I think that the Bengals lost to the Chiefs was because they didn't have as good of a secondary as I think they should have, or as a Super Bowl winning team should have. And because of that, I think I'm just going to kind of go and shore up some other positions. That one of the team needs is tight end, and I could take a look at some other tight ends, but there's someone like a Darnell Washington, but as much as I think that he is a round 1 type talent, I just don't see the point in taking him here when, the top tier of tight ends is already gone. So for that reason, I'm going to go defensive back. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Emmanuel Forbes, the corner out of Mississippi State. Technically, he's a corner and not like a safety, but I still think it's going to be a good enough pick for them. So that's who I got.
All right, New Orleans Saints up next. They signed Derek Carr. Good for them, I suppose. If you're into that sort of thing.
Derek Carr and Taysom Hill, man, that 1-2 punch we needed.
All right.
Hear me out, though. Hear me out.
This is the last time I'll make this joke. Hear me out, though. I can't believe Will Levis is going to go. I mean, I don't think Will Levis
can. I said this.
I know. I could absolutely believe that in our mock draft, Will Levis is not going to be picked in the first round because neither of us really want to pick him. I don't think Will Levis is making it to the second round. This is not a question on whether he should or anything like that. I also think I wouldn't take him till day 2.
Can I pause for a second then? If this is the I'm looking at the teams. We got 3 teams left: the Saints, the Eagles, the Chiefs. The Saints are not taking him. They've just signed Derek Carr. The Eagles and the Chiefs, come on. Let's be serious. The Bengals, come on. The Bills, come on. The Cowboys, come on. The Giants, while I'm not the biggest Daniel Jones fan, there's no way that they're giving him that contract this past offseason and then deciding to go take a round one. No. The Jags, come on. The Vikings, when we had that discussion, that could make I personally wouldn't do it because I don't think it's smart, but there's a world. I agree. There's a world.
To be honest, if this could happen, it's draft week.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine Baltimore trades Lamar Jackson. There is a world where they could be like, "Hey, if Will Levis is here, we'll take him." Like, we need a new quarterback. So, like,
there's a world. Okay, so then my question was going to be, how far do you think, like, Will Levis I don't know if he's going to be at the draft, but like, let's in this imaginary situation pretend he is. But let's say he's in that room and he's the last one there. Unfortunately, somebody's got to be there last, but he's one of the last ones there. At what point do we get to through the draft and go, oh yeah, that's it, he's not a first rounder? And I think that if we pass Minnesota and he's not taken,
that's what I was saying. No team past Minnesota has any need. Now, there's very possible somebody could trade back into the first round to grab it.
Very true. Very true.
We're not really doing
the draft
trades
order
stand.
Right.
If he makes it past 23, no currently standing natural selections will take him.
Completely agree.
There's no point.
Completely agree.
He's not better than any of those. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. One, he's not better than any of these quarterbacks that any of these teams have. Except for arguably he might become better than Derek Carr or Daniel Jones. But that's like, but I don't think they just signed Derek Carr, so they won't draft for Levis. And they just signed Daniel Jones to stupid money, so they're not going to get there's just nothing.
Right.
Which
if he does end up at the Derek Carr, Daniel Jones level, it won't be for a few years. Personally, that's what I believe. So, all right, Tyler, who are you sending down to New Orleans? Who is joining Zion Williamson at the Gumbo Shop?
I think you got to go Miles Murphy, edge defender from Clemson. Here,
honestly. If this is the way it works out, he will be the he is really slipping story of the draft.
Mm-hmm.
He's really slipping story. So
it's just,
but not because the players taken ahead of them are better than him or worse than him. It's just there's a lot of really good players on defense this year, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. It's listen. If he goes here, he gets the 5th year option, so he should be happy that he at least goes in the first. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
I got the Eagles with pick 30.
Final pick of this.
My final pick. The Eagles team needs listed here: wide receiver, guard, center, interior defensive lineman, safety. I gave them I will understand. I did reach a little with Darnell Wright, pick 10, tackle out of Tennessee. Completely understand that. If people are like, oh, what a horrible pick. I get it. I just think he's going to be really good. So guard and center are kind of off the board here. Wide receiver and safety are still available. They did lose CJ Gardner-Johnson. Honestly, I'm trading out of this pick if this is how it falls to them. And I'll get a lot more day 2 picks, but looking at the way this is falling, this one's tough, man. This one's tough. You know what? You know who I like and fits the team needs? I did say this to you a couple weeks ago when we did our offensive players episode. I really like Josh Downs.
Really?
I really like yeah, and I think since we're not going to do trades here, he's listed as the number 38 overall prospect on PFF. I think after he is I agree with your assessment, right? Those top 3 wide receivers, Quentin Johnson, oh my God, I'm blanking, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Jordan Addison. Those 3 are the top tier. Then you have Zay Flowers in a tier of his own, and then everyone else. I think Josh Downs is the first player in that everyone else category. So if we're not going to trade back, then, you know, why not go get another weapon? You know, what, Jalen Hurts gonna be mad at that? Like Devontae, think about it. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Josh Downs. If you slot in there as a wide receiver 3, that is a pretty good place to start your career. If you're as good as I think he is and can develop, I think it's a really good sign. So I'll take Josh Downs in this as my last pick in this mock.
All right.
This feels a little Clyde Edwards-Helaire for me, though. I just really like the player, and it's like last or second to last pick. Why not? I'll just take him. You know what I mean? Give it a shot.
It does kind of feel that way.
But the Chiefs did listen to me, though. The Chiefs did listen to me and take him, so that I did like. Tyler, wrap up the 2023 Sideline Judgement mock draft for us. Pick for the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, who is ending Thursday night, and who is going to Kansas City, which is the city where the draft will be held, coincidentally. So a nice way to round out. So who you got, Tyler?
Nice. No wide receiver warrants taking at this point in the first round.
Maybe, and that's the thing. I reached, and it's because we're not trading back. Like Josh Downs, I love him, but he's a day 2 player.
Yeah,
I reached because we're not doing trades.
The 2 Tennessee guys, Cedric Tillman, Jalen Hyatt,
right.
From Houston, like these are day 2 guys.
Exactly.
Kansas City doesn't have a lot of needs, so we're just looking at the defensive line. And
Tyler, hear me out.
You can't do it forever, guys.
This is honestly, that was the worst one. This is Patrick Mahomes' team.
Worst one.
That was the absolute worst one. Mahomes potential to be the GOAT and overtake Brady in 20 years if he decides to, if he can do it. And I'm out here throwing, hey, hear me out. All right, sorry, continue.
Okay, I'm drafting Will McDonald the 4th, an edge defender, defensive lineman from Iowa State. Not changing the color scheme too much. I think Iowa State, excellent defense, even though their team was very bad this year, but still an excellent defense. I remember there was the stat that was TCU dropped 60 points on them, and their average points per game allowed by their defense was still like one of the best in the country, like in the Big 12. Will McDonald, defensive lineman.
I like that you started the draft with your Florida fandom and you ended it with your Iowa State Cyclones fandom. I think that's a great way to go ahead and wrap up the draft there.
I am committed to the brand.
Committed to the brand. I like it.
Only you say about me. I'm committed.
All right, here is the official Sideline Judgement mock draft for the 2023 NFL draft. At pick 1, Carolina Panthers select Anthony Richardson. At pick 2, he would be the first ever number 1 overall pick in Florida history if that happens.
I did know that, actually.
Yeah, very, very happy with that. At number 2, Houston selects Bryce Young. At number 3, Arizona selects Will Anderson. At number 4, Indianapolis selects CJ Stroud. Number 5, Seattle selects Jalen Carter. At 6, Detroit selects Peter Skoronowski. 7, the Raiders pick Devon Witherspoon. At 8, the Falcons take Quentin Johnson. At 9, the Bears take Nolan Smith. Bless you. At 10, the Eagles take Darnell Wright. At 11, the Titans take Paris Johnson Jr. 12, the Texans take Jackson Smith and Jigba. 13, the Packers take Dalton Kincaid. 14, the Patriots select Christian Gonzalez. 15, the Jets select Broderick Jones. 16, Washington picks Lucas Van Ness. 17, the Steelers take Joey Porter Jr. 18, the Lions take Kalijah Kancey. 19, the Bucks take Michael Mayer. 20, the Seattle Seahawks take Osiris Torrance, making it 2 Florida Gators in the first round. This is where then the Dolphins would have picked. At 21, the Chargers select Bijan Robinson. 22, the Ravens take Jordan Addison. 23, the Vikings take Deontay Banks. 24, the Jaguars select Brian Branch. Pause for Tyler. That's what I was expecting. There we go. Moving forward, at 25, the Giants select Zay Flowers with the help of Sergio. At 26, the Cowboys select Jahmyr Gibbs. At 27, the Buffalo Bills select not Jahmyr Gibbs and instead Tyree Wilson. 28, the Bengals select Emmanuel Forbes. 29, the Saints take Miles Murphy. 30, the Eagles take Josh Downs. And wrapping up the draft, 31, wrapping up the first round, I should say, the Chiefs select Will McDonald IV. Tyler, that is the official 2023 Sideline Judgement mock draft. I am so excited for the NFL draft on Thursday. Any final thoughts before we sign off on this mega episode?
This is a very exciting time of the year for us. Weirdly, I will fly. Okay, I'm trying to remember that. I don't know what the time difference will be from the East Coast to Hawaii, where I will be when the draft is happening. I imagine, like, as I'm stepping off the plane, it's going to start. It's going to be like 2 p.m.
That is very true. I feel like it's going to be a delayed experience for you.
Here's my dream of dreams. Is that I get internet on the flight, and like just free. I don't really want to pay for it, although I might. Depending on how
long's the flight from LA?
6 hours. It's a 6-hour flight.
6 hours. Okay. Well, honestly, I feel like all flights to Hawaii should be 12 hours because you should suffer a little bit before you end up on paradise. That's my mentality, but that's how I feel. Oh yeah, but I don't think we mentioned this on the air. Yeah, Tyler's going to Hawaii for a week.
Yeah. First time ever going. Never been.
Enjoy, my friend. Enjoy.
It's so funny to all these people out in LA. They're like, "You've never been to Hawaii?" And I'm like, first of all, grew up on the East Coast. Why would I come all the way over to Hawaii? Also, grew up in Florida, where we have good beaches. So the main draw makes no sense to go to this place. But now it makes sense because I live over here.
Of course.
But my dream is that I get internet and I can just watch it on the plane.
That'd be cool.
But I don't know if because as soon as we land, like I gotta go meet,
Yeah, you got some
meet some people. I gotta go see Hawaii. I'm not gonna want to pay attention to the NFL draft, which is crazy for me to say. But
but you know what's a good feeling though, Tyler? And you haven't done this in a few years. You are going to be able to literally just be on your phone and be like, "Have the Jags picked yet?" Oh no, they haven't because we're in the 20s. And that is a very good feeling, my friend. That is something that I experienced for the first or second time only a couple years ago. And I know you experienced it when you made that run to the AFC Championship game.
The last time we were in this position, we picked Taven Bryan.
I do be remembering that. that. But have some optimism. My friend.
Sure, why not?
Why not? Tyler, we will be back. Probably won't be back next week since you're going to be out in Hawaii. But
Sergio,
we're gonna try to be back the week after.
I do know. I want you to know. I'm going to make it my life's mission while I'm in Hawaii to find a dolphin and take a picture of it for you.
Thank you so much.
This is why they didn't take a pic. This is why they didn't make a pick in the first round. They were out hanging out in Hawaii.
You're gonna run into Mike McDaniel out there. It's gonna be great.
That would be funny.
That would be funny.
We'll see. Probably not going to be an episode next week, but the week after, definitely.
Exactly. And we will be back absolutely at that point. And then, like I said in the middle of the episode, our Multiverse of College Football episode is coming. If it's not the next one, it'll be the one after that because I am going to visit my parents in a couple weeks. So very excited for that. Tyler, we're wrapping this mega episode up. It was a long boy, but as is the mock draft every year. Every year the mock draft is a long boy. So this has been another episode of Sideline Judgment. My name is Sergio.
My name is Tyler.
And we are not biased, Tyler, but go Gators.
Go Gators. And Duval.
I want to say fins up, but I don't know if I can.
I'm taking in the 20s.